All right, so good evening, everyone, and thank you for tuning into Dream Talk. This is episode 21. I'm joined by Jake Copestick today he's actually right now in Vegas. He's actually attending Summer League. Jake, thank you for joining again today.
Yeah, good to be on. I missed you last week, so glad to glad to have you back. But yeah, I'm in Vegas. I'm here for Summer League. It's my ninth time in Vegas, my fourth time in Summer League. So love coming out here. Great time. Unfortunately, I'm not there today. I'm probably gonna go tomorrow. I want to try and get 3 days out of it while I was here. But been there the last 2 days. Watched a lot of good basketball and had a lot of fun here.
All right, so first question, I know we've been talking before the call, but um, you know, who really stood out the past few days in Summer League?
So I got to see on day one. I got to see the Cavaliers and the Rockets play. Jalen Green looked terrific. He shot 50% from the field. He looked awesome. His ability to shoot the ball off the dribble, shoot, he averaged 20 points a game in the G League last year against grown men coming right out of high school. But he really stood out. He's just a terrific scorer. He just has a knack for putting the ball in the basket. So he looked awesome. And then also in the Rockets, Alperen Şengün, who was I believe the 16th overall pick by them. He's a center from Turkey, I believe. He stood out to me. He played really well. He was only 3 of 10 from the field, but he had 15 points and 15 rebounds, and he held his own and got the better of his matchup with Evan Mobley, who was the third pick. So he really stood out to me as well. Cade Cunningham, not the greatest game from him 2 days ago. I mean, he still looked really good, but he had 5 turnovers. I'm sure he'll play a lot better tonight. But
Mhm.
yeah, those two guys especially, I was really impressed with Jalen Green, and I think Şengün played a lot better than people thought he would. James Bouknight's looked really good. I was talking with Chance last week a little bit about James Bouknight. He looked really good, and Davion Mitchell not only yesterday but in the California Classic games earlier this week that were played in Sacramento. He's an absolutely unbelievable on ball defender. He locked up Bouknight a couple times yesterday, and I mean he had some guys in jail. I mean he's picking up 3/4 court, half court, creating havoc, putting pressure on the ball, forcing bad passes. So Şengün and Green from the Rockets. James Bouknight showed some flashes the last couple of days, and I mean Davion Mitchell's been terrific for the Kings. So I would say those four guys, especially among other guys.
Yep, yep. And for people that don't know, you actually did the Dream Takeover on Instagram.
Yep.
You got a picture with a coach. You took pictures of a few players on the floor. LiAngelo Ball. You also had the Sixers on one of the stories. Can you just tell me what that day was like?
Yeah, yesterday was awesome. So it actually started a little earlier than I've ever had summer league start before. Usually it starts at noon. They'll open the doors up at 11, but on Sunday, the first day, there was a COVID cancellation for the Pacers and the Wizards. So the Pacers ended up playing the Knicks in a rescheduled game yesterday morning at 11 a.m. So the doors opened at 11, got in there, game started. So it was early, not too many people were there, and then I saw Dana Altman from Oregon. He was there to watch Chris Duarte. He was the 13th overall pick by the Pacers, and then right after that game, the Sixers were playing the Mavericks, and there was two Oregon guys on that team who played on last year's Ducks team that made the Sweet 16, LJ Figueroa and Eugenio Marui. So he was there to watch them. I got to talk to him for a little bit about his team and some of the guys that are coming back next year. Sixers looked awesome. Tyrese Maxey and Isaiah Joe had really good days. We were talking before the call, Nick. I don't really know why Maxey is here. He played really well in the playoffs. I don't think
Mhm.
that he was going to come to Summer League and necessarily prove anything, or we were going to see something from Maxey that we haven't seen already.
Mhm.
But nonetheless, he had an awesome game. Isaiah Joe shot the ball well. Jaden Springer looked really good. I was telling you he's picking up 3/4 court in the third quarter when they're up 30 points. So they never took their foot off the gas. They blew out the Mavericks yesterday. So awesome to see them. And then there was a lot of lottery picks on the floor yesterday. Got to see the Hornets play. Got to see the Warriors and the Magic play. The Hornets were playing the Kings, so we got to see Davion Mitchell. Got to see James Bouknight. Got to see Kai Jones from Texas, who was a first-round pick. And then the Warriors Magic game, there was four lottery picks on the floor. There was Jalen Suggs, Franz Wagner, and then Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody for the Warriors. So a lot of guys who played deep into the NCAA tournament. A lot of the top talent in this class. So it was good to see them. And then for the nightcap, I wanted to stay a little bit for the Suns and the Jazz game. Nate Sestino, not uh, from St. Mary's, not too far from Du Bois, was there. So I definitely wanted to get some pictures of him and some videos of him on the court. But yesterday was a
Mhm.
fun day. Saw a lot of top guys. Got a couple autographs too. Me and my friends did. Patrick Williams signed for us. We were sitting right next to the tunnel, so we got Davion Mitchell and everybody too. So fun day. A lot of really good prospects, especially yesterday. And I had really good seats for it all too. So yesterday was awesome. Hope everybody enjoyed the takeover. Had a lot of fun with it, and got to see a lot of top guys play.
Yep. Yeah, it's definitely been interesting. And now I kind of want to transition. Being in Vegas, you have coaches from all across the U.S. coming to watch the young players. You have people that love the game, whether that be players or, you've seen pros, come support their teammates. I actually saw Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns, D'Angelo Russell. There's a lot of, people from different agencies. You have agents there, you have CEOs there. Can you just talk about, how Summer League brings everybody together?
Yeah, it's a really good for everybody to all meet and connect it because there's not really much going on right now. They just had the draft, so that's after all the work that everybody's put in for that. Now you can kind of relax a little bit and just kind of take in summer league for week and a half, 2 weeks. But everybody in the NBA is all in the same spot. So I'm watching the Knicks play yesterday. Tom Thibodeau and Leon Rose and Kenny Payne are all sitting courtside. So you have coaches, you have front office people, you have scouts, you have agents, all here because in addition to wanting to watch summer league, some of these guys aren't going to play on NBA rosters, but that's why you have agencies here that will sign players to hopefully get them deals overseas. A lot of guys that play here maybe won't play in the NBA, but will then go play overseas. So it's just a good spot for everybody to be. Obviously, it's Vegas. It's a lot of fun. I'm sure all those NBA guys like coming here. I'm staying in the Aria. I'm in the Aria right now. I've seen a bunch of NBA guys, hitting the blackjack tables and the casinos and walking in and out. So, yeah, the fact that it's in Vegas and I'm sure everybody would definitely want to come out for that too. But it's cool, maybe you don't have obviously like LeBron playing here, but he'll still want to come out and support. And there's players from every team that are here. So LeBron was here one year, but then Kyle Kuzma's here, Lonzo Ball's here, so we get to see all his teammates too. So it's everyone could just kind of enjoy basketball. You get a little bit of a break before the season starts, and obviously in Vegas, it's a spot that everybody wants to be at and can have a lot of fun and relax for a little bit.
Yep. I definitely got to make my way out there one summer.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun here, and tickets are cheap too. I paid $56 for a general admission ticket, and I sat like 4 or 5 rows up from the away team bench right next to the tunnel. So
Mhm.
cheap tickets. You get 8 games. There's 2 different gyms. You can go back and forth as you please to watch games. But yeah, it's a good time out here. For a hoops guy like you, Nick, I would definitely recommend you get out here, connections, meet people, and just enjoy yourself and watch some basketball too.
Yep. Yeah, that's on my bucket list. So now I kind of want to transition away from summer league a little bit. Obviously, we had the NBA draft the end of July, and then now it's free agency. It started a week after. So now I see players like Evan Fournier going to the Knicks. I see Kemba Walker going to the Knicks. I see a lot of different players like Kyle Lowry going to the Heat. What are your thoughts on these players on new teams?
So Kyle Lowry on the Heat. It's interesting you bring that up. I feel like Miami's been trying to target him for a while now, and they finally got him. And I think a lineup of Kyle Lowry and Jimmy Butler and Duncan Robinson. They just signed PJ Tucker now too. Who in the playoffs you saw how underrated of a player he was, and just how valuable he is. Just stretching the floor, shooting threes, not doing too much offensively, knowing his role and playing defense. And then you add in Bam too. I think the Heat put themselves in position to make a run next year. The Knicks too. I mean, getting Kemba was a big get. Not having to trade for that contract and being able to get him off of a buyout was big for them. Excuse me. But yeah, a lot of good moves. Russell Westbrook going to the Lakers, I think, is another big one. I personally think the Lakers with their roster, and people are making memes and whatnot, like, oh, they're too old, this and that. They have a really impressive collection of talent. You had Russell Westbrook in there,
Mhm.
next to Bron and AD. I think they put themselves in position, to make another run and get farther in the playoffs like they did last year. I don't think anybody saw last year coming where the Lakers get bounced out of the playoffs, early in the first round. That's unheard of with LeBron. So a lot of teams making improvements. The Knicks, building off of what they had last year, all those moves they made, I think they'll be a better team and they'll be able to build off what they did last year. They were able to lock up some of their key guys last year, D Rose, Nerlens Noel, and guys like that. So a lot of big moves. I wouldn't say it was like a free agency like 2 years ago where you had like Kawhi and Paul George getting going to the Clippers all in one night. But still a good wave of free agency. A lot of teams got better, but I would say for me the Heat. I think it was impressive what they were able to do, getting PJ Tucker away from an Eastern Conference opponent too, and able to get Kyle Lowry to play the point for them.
Yeah, no, that's definitely interesting because I also saw Alonzo Ball. He got paid, I believe, what was it? I want to say 85 million. It might be higher than that, but he's now with Chicago. So
Yep.
that's an interesting move because now he plays with Zach LaVine in the backcourt. So there's a lot of good talent this year in the East.
Yeah, DeMar DeRozan. The Bulls really got better.
Mm-hmm.
They're a starting lineup of Lonzo Ball, Zach LaVine, DeRozan, Patrick Williams, and Vucevic is really good. And I think after the Bulls have, they haven't been nearly what they were when they had D Rose and in the early to mid 2000s. But this is the best team that they've had in a while. They've been down as a franchise lately, but they made a lot of good moves to be able to position themselves as a playoff team in the East.
Mm-hmm. Now, I actually have one interesting question. Obviously, you've been watching the games. Did you ever think about becoming a scout in your future? Because obviously, you love the game of basketball. You played obviously, and you're watching a lot of games right now. So, is that a possible career for you?
Yeah, it's something I've thought about. I'm currently interning for a company called BPA Hoops. And it's just a small intern role, helping them out with reports. But yeah, I mean, I'm as a basketball fan, I watch a lot of basketball anyway. So for me, it's not necessarily work for me to do more of it. I like watching the mid and the low major schools and the Philly team. So I'd say it's definitely in the cards for me. Um, I'm just a big basketball fan. I know I want to work somewhere in sports, somewhere in basketball. Not really entirely sure yet, but I'm trying out the scouting right now, so we'll see what happens with it. I like what I'm doing now. Hopefully, I'll be able to go to a lot more games. Not being able to go last year was a bummer. So hopefully, I'll be able to attend more games and hopefully continue to kind of grow um, as a scout and continue to get work under my belt for that. But yeah, it's definitely a possibility.
Yep. And I have one last question before we wrap it up. But I guess, how would you describe your experience in Vegas? How has it been so far? I know we kind of touched on the basketball aspect. And what are your NBA Finals predictions for this upcoming season?
I'll start with the NBA Finals prediction. I was talking with Chance about this last week. So I, feel like I can't really go against the Bucks in the East. The Knicks got better. The Heat got better, but with the exception of PJ Tucker, and he played a very big role in that team. The Bucks, the way Giannis is playing, he was just so dominant last year that I don't know. And they ended up sweeping the Heat too, even though the Heat got better this year. The Bucks went on a really good run. They're going to bring all of their key pieces back. They're definitely going to miss PJ Tucker with his defense. But they returned pretty much everybody, and they were really, really good last year. So I'm going to go the Bucks to come out of the East, and to come out of the West. Even with all the moves, the Clippers, Lakers, the Suns now too. They made a lot of good moves. I'm still a little bit hesitant with the Lakers because I think that age aspect might catch up to them at some point, and I have concerns about them shooting the ball too, bringing in Westbrook, a guy who's not necessarily like a knockdown 3-point shooter.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have Caruso anymore coming off the bench, and I don't want to go with the chalk, but at the same time, I think the Suns. The Suns could come out of that division again. They didn't really lose anybody.
Mm-hmm.
They signed JaVale McGee. They were lacking size. I think size. After DeAndre Ayton went out of the games, get Sarge back too. I think that's what hurt them, was not being able to have like a backup center and have some size in there. So I hate to kind of go with the chalk here, but Bucks and the Suns, they really there wasn't any drastic changes in them, and I think DeAndre Ayton, Booker, those guys are only going to get better. So, kind of hate to go with the chalk here, but would not be surprised if we saw the Bucks and the Suns again because they return all of their key guys. And as far as my experience in Vegas, like I touched on, this is my 9th time here. I have family that live out here. I try and come out here annually to visit them. It's really hot out here. It's really hot. I believe it's 110 today. But the humidity's really low, so I would honestly much rather have this type weather than the humidity that we have back in Pennsylvania. But it's awesome. I just turned 21, so this is my first time being able to be legal here. So I've had a lot of fun. I'm out here with 5 of my friends, so we're having a good time. We went out to Fremont Street in downtown Vegas last night, and then 2 nights ago after Summer League, we just kind of stayed on the Strip and hung out. So it's been a good time. My first time legal here, so I'm having a blast, and I kind of consider this place my second home because I've been out here 9 times, and I love coming out here. So this has been awesome. Stuff starting to open back up here, so I've had a great time out here.
Yeah, no, looks like you've been having a great time.
Yep.
But yeah, for sure. But yeah, everyone, this wraps up episode 21 of Dream Talk. I've had a great conversation with Jake today, and have a good rest of your evening and stay safe.
See you.